Okay,
All right, you should got the notice there.
did.
All right, welcome everybody. I have a special guest here today, Terri, and Terri is going to talk a lot about her journey today. But first, let's welcome her. So if you're here live or on the replay, just drop into the comments and tell us, "Hey, I'm here live" or "I'm here replay." Give her an applause emoji to welcome her here because it's not always the easiest thing to do. And Terri, why don't we start off by introducing yourself to this community of women?
So I'm Terry. I'm 56 years old. I live in the area, Mount Bridges area, and I'm a therapist in London. What else can I say about me? I'm a mom of two children, remarried, and I don't know. That's probably it.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Me.
Let's start from the very beginning because you had been following me for well over a year. You'd been
Mhm.
taking advantage of the trainings. You had some others that had gone through the coaching service, and then it took you a bit, but you took the leap. So, why the gap between following me for so long and then what made you feel like you were ready and what were you looking for?
I think when I had been treated, like I had gone through cancer and I had been on medication, and I'm still on the medication to prevent the cancer from coming back. And I used to go to the doctor and I used to complain about my weight. And used to say, like, I'm trying everything, I'm exercising more, I'm dieting, nothing's working. And they would say, oh, that's because you're on this medication. It just kills your metabolism. So, there's no point. So, I truly started to believe there's no point. There is no point in trying to join you yet because if this I'm on the medication for 5 years, why try if
Hmm.
I it's not going to work? And then I went home and I saw pictures of myself with my family on a walk at the back of my body, and I just like, oh my God, we have to do something now. So I took the leap and jumped on. And I did get a lot of pushback because I had some friends go, you're spending all that money. And I'm thinking, yeah, yeah, I am because this is me and I need to start taking care of me because this is me and my body and I want to have it for the rest of my life. So let's start taking care of it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So what I always like doing is I like breaking down kind of the main components that kind of drive weight loss or promote overall health because it's not just about weight loss. We want overall health too. And I
Mhm.
like breaking down them into the different components and breaking down kind of like some of the lessons learned, some of the aha moments, but basically breaking down some of the myths that women have as well. So if we started off with, let's say, exercise, for example, and tell me, like, so one, your goal was to lose 25 pounds. We got you to lose a lot of weight, but we've done a lot of other things in our coaching journey, and it's been a while since we haven't coached together. But what did you learn about exercise, about yourself and exercise, or the way exercise works in terms of weight loss?
I truly believed, like I had done Weight Watchers and I did my fitness app, Pal, and I even had a body trainer. So,
Personal.
bodybuilder, personal trainer, yeah. And everything focused on, for me, I always fell back to the exercise. That if I put on weight, I like, at one point it was almost obsessive. Like if I put on 240 calories, I went out for a night and I'd count, how much drinks I had, ate. I'd come home, get on my exercise bike till I burned 250 calories, right? So
Hmm.
I made a connection with uh, losing weight is exercise. Like if I just upped the exercise, if I just kept, really pushing that I could burn off whatever I ate. And of course, when I was bodybuilding, I had to eat more. And so I didn't have to pay attention to what I ate. But because I was exercising more and I was lifting weights and I was doing a lot more that required more food, right, in my body. But then, of course, when I stopped that, then that didn't work anymore, right? Like exercise couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
so,
That's a common belief that a lot of women have is like, well, if I eat this many calories, then I can just burn this amount of calories. But we know that that's not how the body works, right? And so that's not tit for tat as well. Plus, ends up influencing your relationship with exercise in a more negative way. It ends up being that exercise is about a punishment for what you ate. The
Mhm.
food is a punishment as well. So, and then that did come up in our coaching journey in the sense of one day you did kind of overeat and you said, and then I noticed the pattern the next day where you were a little bit under eating and then you were trying to figure out how to burn it off and you got
Mhm.
caught back into that old thinking. Can you just talk about that moment a bit?
Yeah, it was a moment of panic. I think I was texting you, what can I do? What can I do to burn this off? Because part of me was realized I had eat way too much carbs, and I was doing okay, I have to do something. I have to do something, and I had my whole mindset of being critical of myself, which I just was telling you that has helped me motivate me when I was in university. Like, you need to study harder. You need to be taking notes in class. You need to be, so then I would do all that stuff and pay attention to me. So I just truly made a connection that if you punish yourself and you're critical of yourself, next time I would be better, right? Like I truly had that belief. And I remember talking with you and you were like, can we just be compassionate that maybe you're, kind? And I'm like, what? No, we can't be kind. Right? Because I've always lived with that to make change, I need to, I don't know, be
Yeah.
critical of me.
Yeah, and
Mhm,
you're definitely not alone on this. That, in some people it does work where you can have that militant, bully-like kind of thinking pattern, and it does end up motivating people that just fits their personality. But for majority of people, it does the polar opposite. It's just what familiar or what we're used to that we keep going back to it, but we never stop to kind of question, wait a minute. So when I introduced, hey, can we just be kind and compassionate? That was foreign to you because you're like, well, why would I be kind and compassionate when I just overate? And why would I be kind
mhm.
and compassionate when I know I now got to go beat myself up on the treadmill?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and that I really shouldn't have had what I had. That was an overindulgence, that was a self-indulgence, and, so it is part of that bullying that you do to yourself, right? So
Yeah. So go back to exercise too, because there's a conception as well that we have to do more, 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 more. But for you, there was two things. Is one, we didn't do more and more and more. We were just strategic about what we were doing. And two, we also learned that when you have really long days, using the exercise was a way for you to kind of buffer intense feelings or the feeling of go, 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 that it
mhm,
also served a dual purpose, not only for your body to move, but also like it helped you stay grounded in the day and not
mhm,
get lost. So can you just talk about those two things?
yeah. I think that was perhaps one of the realities. Like I never liked exercise, and I still don't. I'll be honest with you. Like I'm like one of those people who I hate it. Like I hate it when I have to go exercise. I hate it when I'm exercising, and I don't feel the instant relief after. Like if anything, I have the relief. Thank God it's done.
Mhm.
Right? It's done. It's over. Right? But I have seen, like, we were able to make a connection in our work together, right? That on the days that I was completely depleted and I just wanted to come home and eat, 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 was the days I didn't do like an exercise in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And my work is hard, right? Like there's times that it takes all my emotional energy, right? So then I just I don't know, like now I started to say, okay, it's not a matter of that I want to exercise. It's a matter of I need to. Like my emotional well-being needs it. My work of me needs it, and my health side of me needs it. So
Yeah.
it was funny. I just had that talk with my father-in-law. Like we were talking about being anxious and nervous, and I was saying to him, like, just walk half hour a day. Like if you just walk half, I was doing you. Right, that you could feel, like, so much better and do it in the morning, first thing, because it'll give you enough endorphins for the day, right?
Yeah.
So, that
Yeah.
was good for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love that we made that connection too. And then
Mhm.
talk about nutrition. So, guys, I think mindset's the biggest part of your journey, which we're going to tap into next. But talk about nutrition because there's a lot of beliefs like, hey, I got to cut out all things. I can't have sugar. I can't be social. Like, there's all. What did you learn about yourself and food?
I probably learned that like how much sugar is in food that I didn't know was in food. And like the meats that I thought were just plain protein, I did find out, oh no, they're actually protein with fat,
Mhm.
right? So like it just made me more aware of what I was eating, what I was putting in my body. I do make better choices. I definitely have increased my vegetables because I've learned that too is like the exercise. It's my body needs it to move, to regulate, to everything to be in alignment. But yeah, so I would think that was the biggest thing was I became more aware of the amount of sugar. I'll be honest with you. That was in the
Yeah,
foods that I thought, oh, this is good. This, oh, no, maybe not. Like even like the cereal that I used to have because it was called Harvest Crunch Light and Light Harvest Crunch or something. I was like, well, this is healthy. It's light. And then you look at the sugar and it's like, oh,
right. Yeah. Let's
but I
go.
still have it, but I have a quarter of a cup, right? Versus a full cup. Like I would have a
Right.
cup of that and milk, and now I just have a quarter cup and yogurt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Let's
I,
stick with the sugar too, because there was an kind of like this type of thinking that eating refined sugars, so like your sweets or whatever, were bad for you, but
mhm,
wine was okay. But it
mhm,
came down to sugar is bad. So you had this story that said, sugar is bad. I can't eat sugar. There's no room in sugar in weight loss. And so when
mhm,
you ate the refined sugars, you felt bad. You felt like a failure. You got into like this overthinking, this self-worth, this body image talk. But when you drank wine, it was different. And then we had to
mhm.
have a discussion of, well, they're both sugars. So what makes one better than the other? Can you just talk a little bit about that?
I don't know the answer to that one. I just know that red wine has less sugar than white. No,
Yeah,
no, yeah, but like I always see wine as I don't know, it's an allowable one, right? Like it's funny like how your brain can like it's okay. That one's an okay. You're allowed to have that one. So when you helped me decide, well, why don't we just count it as a carb? And I was like, oh, I can do that? Wow, okay, let's count it as a carb. And then fill up on my protein and my veg throughout the day so that if I want my glass of wine, I can have it as part of my carbs at night, right? So that perfect.
or if you want the sweet, because you
Right.
you had a brown, I think it was 2 bite brownie or whatever, like it was the same thing, right? It's the sweet. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, rather than creating these categories of good and bad, it's like
Mhm.
let's just treat it as food and this is where it falls.
Yeah, that is just a carb.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to be so yeah, because I have a real strong thing that sweets are bad. They're bad. But I have, be honest with you, my body, like since I've been on like this journey, like I have noticed if over Christmas I had too many cookies. I was just telling you that. But my stomach was actually physically hurting. And I said, oh, okay, we're back. We're back tomorrow. And none of this stuff is going in my body because my body's even saying, I don't like this. I don't like this. And it because I felt like nauseous. And I was like,
Right.
okay, this is obviously overdone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it's something that you probably always felt but never attributed to that. But now that you've like changed your diet and you're eating cleaner or whatever, you can notice those things more and you can make the connection
mhm,
like, ah, that's what's
yeah.
doing it to me.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
listening more to my body too,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
been something new from this.
Yeah. Okay, so then mindset, because I think that mindset is like this kind of big elusive term. And a lot of women are like, I'll get to mindset once I lose the weight. and or just dismiss it. No, it's just about what I eat and exercise. It's got nothing to do with that. But for you, you were coming in with one, emotional eating, this sense of failure. If you did something that you felt was bad, then you felt like a failure. You had this overthinking, rumination that was happening as well anytime you kind of felt off course. So, can you talk about the connection to mindset and living healthy or just even like losing weight? What's the connection for you and all that?
Well, it was funny because when I first started with you, remember and you said, "Do you do mindfulness meditation?" I say, "No, I tell clients about it all the time, like that it's really good for calming your body." I always believed that exercise was how I could uh, it's almost like I have to exhaust my mind for it to stop to think. And so I would really do hard exercise. But like I actually introduced mindfulness and meditations every day, and I'm still doing it because I have found like the breathing, the exercising, being more conscious of like when I eat, like and trying not to sit in front of a TV and trying not to be in front of anything, but like look out the window as I'm eating and take in nature and slowly chew my food. And like even there was one video about like that I listened to about like think about where this food came from and smell it as you're making it. I think you had shared that, like do all this stuff to prepare your body and digestion for eating it, right? So that was new and it really helped because I didn't realize like I used to have oatmeal every morning. I think I used to tell you oatmeal every morning is what I started doing, and I would be full halfway. And I thought, well, that's strange. Like I always had to have my full oatmeal. And
Mhm.
then I would just eat the other half at 3 o'clock, right? Because I would still eat my full oatmeal, but I break it up. I didn't need it all at breakfast anymore. So by being mindful, I realized I didn't need as much of what I was putting in my body because when I wasn't paying attention, because there was times I sat in front of the TV and then I was,
Yeah, but I assume that you also it got you to enjoy food more.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I also experimented more with food. Like I bought new vegetables that I don't ever buy. And because I think that was part of the recommendations, I try one new vegetable a week. So of course I tried, some were bomb, but otherwise it was
Yeah,
good. I actually started to say, wow, okay, spinach can be fried in my eggs. Like I know probably everyone else here probably goes, yeah, didn't you know that? No, I didn't because I'm not a spinach eater.
yeah, yeah,
And then you were like, there's your way to get your vegetable serving. And I was like, okay, we can do that.
yeah, yeah. And you did use veggie greens to supplement some of your other veggie servings when it was difficult for you too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still do because
yeah,
I still need like I grew up like on the East Coast, so the potato, carrot, and turnip was my vegetables. That was as far as our creativity went for in my family. Not to say everybody's, but in my family, that was about as far as the creativity went. So like now, like drinking the greens, like the veggie, the protein shakes and stuff. That has been great because that is another vegetable serving. So then that's one more that's easy I can have and but also keeps my body feeling good, right?
yeah. So
Mhm.
talk about emotional eating and here's why is because when I often talk to women and I ask them, do you emotionally eat? They say no. And then as we get into it, they don't realize like when they're procrastinating, rewarding or celebrating, like they're just thinking like, oh, I don't stress eat and therefore I don't emotionally eat, but they're not considering all these other feelings that might be contributing to their eating. So can you talk a little bit about emotional eating for you?
I think when I did my actual survey at the beginning, I think I did take that's not an issue for me. But as I've gone on the journey, like I said, I was so aware that that day, like it was because one day I think I was just emotionally exhausted and I truly just wanted food. Like when I came home, I couldn't eat enough food, right? Because I think part of my life I had learned that makes you feel better,
Yeah,
right? So food, when you feel depleted, food kind of fills up that emptiness. Like if you feel empty emotionally, like I wasn't hungry, like I was emotionally empty. And I just attributed that same feeling. You know what I mean? Like the feeling that I must be hungry, then eat. But really, I was just emotionally empty, right?
yeah,
So I had to recharge me emotionally. And that's part of that, the mindfulness, the meditation and the breathing and sitting with that. That was so powerful for me.
Yeah.
And probably for my husband, because I think he's been so used to me calling him and saying, I'm coming in hot, which means I'm hungry. Coming in hot. So he come in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give her something quick she can put in her mouth when she walks in the door. But and I don't think I've had to do that in the 12 weeks. I'll have to ask him. But I don't think I've had to call him to say, I'm coming in. Right.
Right.
So because I think every day, like in the days that I was physically hungry, I just learned, okay, I needed to put a snack in, like,
Yeah.
later in the afternoon, and that helped.
Yeah.
Uh, but like when I was anxious, that was another time, like when I'm nervous and I'm going to like a person's house who are critical people.
Yeah. Or even just you did do public speaking.
Public speaking, that's another one. That was a big one, right? That I was like, oh no. And I wasn't supposed to publicly speak in front, like I can do this. I can't do it in front of 50 people. And I then a surprise morning of, we need you to do it. Right. So every part of my body was like, oh, where's the food? Where I need something right now. And there wasn't any. So I had to drink water and that was fine. I got through it. I don't think I did well in it, but I got through it.
Yeah.
Best my own
Here's what
self.
here's what I love too is because a lot of women believe that, oh, I gotta wait for the perfect time in order to do something like this, like coaching, and it's gotta be smooth sailing. But I love when it's not smooth sailing because you get to see what your default patterns are. So for you, like everything was smooth sailing in terms of exercise and emotional eating. And then we got the invitation to speak, and then exercise kind of went out the window. And then the
Mhm.
emotional eating came in, and then we get an opportunity in real time to kind of work through it. And at the end, to kind of debrief through it. And so
Yeah.
that's what I love because a lot of women just really think like it's got to be like I got to have 12 weeks clear calendar. But
Mhm.
for you, it was like there, and then there was so let's go back to you heading to a friend's house
Mhm.
who are all trying to lose weight, but tend to be a bit more critical about themselves and about others. And the conversation is always about weight. And here you are doing really well on your journey. Can you just talk about that kind of
And
experience?
then feeling bad, right? Like I'm feeling bad that I don't want to talk about me. I mean, and they're all saying, complaining, well, I'm not giving up wine and can see, you cut back on your wine. And I just said, if I fell into a pattern of having to defend myself, but then I just like, okay, change the subject, change the subject. Um, and I went into a part like I felt bad that I'm doing well, right? And that's part. So then and they're like filling up my glass, continuing filling up my glass, and it's almost like then I'm thinking, okay, well, are they doing that because that's what we always did, or and then I just wasn't aware, or are they doing that because they also are kind of sabotaging
Hmm.
uh, me? I don't think they were sabotaging me now. Like thinking back, I do think they felt bad because they want to lose weight, but they're not at the point I was. And that's what I just said to them. I think at a different time I went back there again. I just said, when you're ready, you'll do it, right? It's just obviously something else is in your way right now, and until you figure it out, then you'll do it.
Yeah, and we were able to kind of so the first time you got together with them, the wine did keep refilling, and then you ended up in snacks. And so
That was when I had the bad night, and I called
yeah,
you, texted you
yeah,
the next day, help me.
yeah, yeah. And then we were trying to like, outdo it with exercise. And then we were kind of in that shame spiral and feeling guilty and that sort of thing and trying to beat ourselves up. And so we were able to kind of, work through that in the sense of get to the root issue. But then you had the second time you went
Hmm.
with them, right? They came and slept over at your house, I think it was.
Yeah.
That went much better because we were able to kind of coach through this, figure
Hmm.
out what was happening here. And there was a root issue here. Do you remember what the root was?
No, fill me in again.
Do you remember? It was a childhood root.
Oh, didn't we uncover many childhood
We did.
roots?
The need to be liked.
Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely. And the need to belong, and that what is it? Love is conditional.
Mm.
You have to, at any moment, they could stop loving you, right? So, and that's been a lifelong, right, story that people could love you and love you and love you and love you, and then you do the one thing wrong, and it's done and it's over. And I've had friendships that has happened, like that I might have spoke up against them, and then it's done and it's over. But then, like now, as I'm older, I realize, that then that wasn't as the friendship that I thought it was. Like
Yeah.
I probably thought it was a more secure friendship that we can do that. Like, and I do have some good friends who I can do that with, right? That I
Yeah.
can have that serious conversation and they're good and they still love you. Or, I have a friend who often questions after, like, or she apologized the next day. Maybe I did. And I'm like, no, you don't need to apologize. We're good. We're good. It's all
Yeah.
good. You can have that belief. You can have that. I'm good with that. That's
Yeah.
I love you for you. I don't love you for, what you want to believe in. I just who you are as a person.
Yeah. And that was good because we were able to debrief that. You were avoiding me for a little bit because I was asking you the tough questions. And then we got to the root is like love
Yeah.
is conditional. I need to be liked. And then that was where it was coming through. And because we did that work, when you did the second time with them, it was a totally different experience for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't need to. Like I controlled my glass. That was probably the biggest thing because I do see them go around with the wine bottle, right? Like we're ready to fill up everyone's glass, and I just control mine and I just drink it a lot more, slower. And then I felt better about it, and I didn't have that feeling the next day, that yucky feeling. So it overall it went well. They were good. They didn't even bring it up. They didn't seem to notice it, so it went well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
you were able to come together and reflect on that as well. And one of the things
Mhm.
that you said was like, I felt in control. They weren't in control of what was on my plate or in my cup. I felt in control.
Yeah. I did have that bad incident. And remember that I talked to you and I said where one was critical and, oh, you're going for another dessert. Remember that one? And
Mm.
I was really bad that night. Like because then it tapped my what I do to me. Right. So that person was needing to feel better about themselves. I think they were feeling lonely, so they needed to feel better. But it actually did what I would do, like, my own internal dialogue. When I used to go home, if I had too much, I would say those things, right? You
Yeah,
shouldn't have had that. You shouldn't have had that. Even though I was watching what I was eating and I knew I could, because I had been counting my carbs, that I could have another dessert, like a little square. And yeah, and remember, oh yeah, me and you were like, can you journal that? And I was like, I'm going to journal this whole feeling thing. Because everything for me, that's what we kind of boil down to, like that I eat to feel good about me as a person. I actually had that belief too that people who are thin, do you remember that? I used to say that people who are thin have their shit together, so I don't like them because I don't have mine. Right. But then, and and I knew it was, and I said to you, I know it's my own jealousy because I just want to be like be thin. But the reality is that being thin doesn't mean you have your shit together either, right? Like it's just like I could be overweight and chubby and I don't have my shit together, or I could be thin and don't have my shit together, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it was because we had done some work that you got to the journaling. Because if that
Mhm.
had happened at the beginning of the coaching journey, I don't think we would have been as reflective as we were to be able to separate this is what he owns, this is what I own.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
this is mine, this is his, and let me journal about it so that I'm not creating the
Mhm.
snowball to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because what ends
Yeah.
up happening is, you overeat and then it slides into day two, day three, day four, and that sort of thing. And that for you was like one and done. It stopped, and I journaled, and then
Mhm.
I was able to kind of move forward from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to women who are feeling the way you were feeling in the beginning, feeling like it was hopeless? Whether it's because I hear women too, like you, for you, it was like, hey, I'm on medication, and medication is what's blopping my weight, and that ended up
Mhm.
being not true. And
Mhm.
other women will tell me it's because of menopause, it's their hormones, and that's why they can't lose the weight. And so, you're talking to a woman who's in that state, feeling the way you were feeling. What advice do you have for them?
I would say, your body is a incredible tool. So don't trust when other people tell you what your body can do. and
Mhm.
what your body can't do. It's your journey with your body, and whether you lose the 25 or you lose 10 or 5 or whatever, like as long as you feel good and you feel better, then that's all it's really about, right? Is about feeling good about yourself, liking yourself, and whatever your accomplishment is. Like for me, like seeing the connection between my emotions and my eating and stress and trying to be more at ease with myself and be kinder to myself, more compassionate. That was, I think that would be beautiful for everyone,
Yeah.
which is also my message in therapy, by the
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be beautiful, right? And I love that you brought in the word ease because that was a word that we kind of a
way.
mantra word that we found kind of in the middle of like what exactly do you want out of this? And we kind of said ease. I want to slow down the thinking around food and my body and all these thoughts, and I just want to have ease around it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Anything else you would share with women before we go?
Trust Cindy. Like, I would honest I would say, and don't let when people say about the price, you're worth it. Like the reality is you are worth being a better you and being liking you again, and actually start believing like there's like remember I think my original goal, I want to start dancing in the kitchen again. I used to do that when I was young, and I used to do it when I was stressed. I would dance, right? I look like a fool, but I'd have my little pink music going now, and I started back doing that now, of course, right? Because part of that, like I can be silly again and positive, and I was feeling with the weight and everything, and I have lost 25 pounds, FYI. It took a little longer, like an extra couple of weeks, but I got there, and I don't know, and I just wanted to be lighter again, and you can like let go of some of that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. My last question to you is, what does sustainable mean for you? Because there's a difference between losing weight and sustaining or maintaining the weight loss. So what does it mean for you?
So I have a plan, right? And my plan is like I still want to do the 4-4-6, like in my mind, like how we calculated it out for me. And the exercise is definitely a part of my need, not a want. Like I need to do it. So um I also know you're my fallback because I've already said that to you that if I fall back, I'll just reach out and start again because it doesn't mean if I need to start over or if I need fine tuning, it doesn't mean I failed. It just may mean needs to be fixed around. So like I plan to continue my weight loss journey. Like I still want to lose right now. I'm not finished where I am, but I'm going to try it on my own for now. Um, and I know when you and I talked about it, like I already have a lot of the stuff. Like it's about my ease story, not about what the distress and not about that. I know it's my more mindfulness meditations. Like, so I have all of these extra resources, and to remind myself that food is not a punishment, right? Like food is a necessity in the body, and how I want to see it doesn't mean it's bad or good, right? Like, so all of that I'm using in my sustained story. So, if I fall down and have to come back, I have to come back,
Yeah.
that's
But we never come back, like we never unlearn what we've learned. We're just coming back to a new place. And I always think about The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. And I always think like, you've completed one cycle of the hero's journey. You think about like Wonder Woman or whatever you completed. There's
mhm,
never a smooth sailing. There's always like foes and everything else along the way. And you've completed a cycle. And if you feel like, okay, you need more assistance or help or more tools, it's just like it's the sequel to the story, the hero, and it's starting the journey on the quest, meets the mentor or the guide, comes to the cave of all the fears, meets all the foes to test if they really want this, and then comes into the new world. Like that whole cycle
yeah,
starts again, and we see it in every movie. That's what makes a great movie, is that. And so if we can think about that, then we think about it's never starting over. It's always, I'm on a new
mhm,
quest now, or I'm continuing my quest now.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
beautifully said.
Well, I want to thank you for taking your time and joining and sharing your story with women. I always feel like it resonates more when women get to hear it from real women like you who've gone through it and feeling similar to what they're feeling or thinking similar to what they're thinking. So thanks so much for being an inspiration inside this community.
Yes, well, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Terry.
See you later. Bye.